I tend to have my mother's work ethic and my father's ability to obsess on things. Combined, this was a pretty deadly recipe growing up with drugs and alcohol. I gave up everything for that stuff, and I suffered a lot. My sobriety date is October 2nd, 2007, and I am a recovering alcoholic. Keyword recovering because we only have today, but for the record, the obsession to drink or get high is long extinct. Once I found a new lease on life, I started to focus my work ethic, my obsession on my hobbies. Dealing with life was new. It was a foreign concept in this new sober reality of mine. But at the ripe age of 22, I was sure not going to eliminate fun. Most 22-year-olds, they're out having fun, going on dates, and I didn't want to be any different. I didn't want to ignore that life just because I got sober. I remember the first time I went on a date in this sober reality of mine. I was so nervous because we were going to a bar, club, music, and I had not been in that environment up until that point in sobriety. I was nervous I was going to mess this up. I think anybody in my shoes would be. When we arrived, I ordered a glass of water, she got a drink, and I ran like a triathlon runner to the dance floor. That was the plan. Get to the dance floor, stay on the dance floor, dance terribly, mind you, because I did not have skills in this department, and only return to the bar if I needed hydration, water, maybe a Red Bull. Funny thing is, even dancing as terribly as I did, that was the most fun date I had been on in years, if not my whole life. It worked. I did not think that was possible. Fast forward a few months, and I was getting a little better at dancing now. If ever presented with an encounter or a date, I'd suggest a club or someplace with music and a dance floor, and I was loving this now. Like, this is something I was really starting to enjoy doing, even though, I might not have been that good. It was working, and I was getting a little better at dancing. Very slowly, but I was. Fast forward a few more years, and I was probably still really bad at dancing, but I was great in my head. I had a crew of hip hop, breakdancing friends, and we meet up at different clubs and locations every weekend or some days throughout the week. And this is when, like, the true passion kicked in. And that's the thing, passion and effort, those things are free. You don't have to pay for that. If you have passion and you're willing to give the effort, anything's possible. Fast forward a few more years, and I was now a professional dancer. I was getting legitimately paid to travel the world and all expenses covered to perform in different theaters around the world. I was living my best life. I never intended for a hobby or a passion to develop into something that could take care of me or give me a life beyond my wildest dreams, but it did. I was a Chippendales dancer. For those that are not aware, Chippendales is a Las Vegas production. They employ roughly 20 guys, 10 perform and stay in Vegas, 10 perform on the world tour for 10 months out of the year. I was on the world tour. Again, for those that don't know, Chippendales, it's the classiest version of a male review show. Imagine Magic Mike, but classier if you can. For those that have not been to a show, I suggest to go check one out, and you'll have the most fun ever. Even if you're a guy, you'll thoroughly enjoy watching the interactions, and you won't find a better ladies' night anywhere else on earth. You'll have a blast. When the COVID pandemic hit, entertainment, let alone the whole world, came to a standstill. Every country, city, or district, they had their own new regulations, and in the hierarchy of things, Vegas and Broadway performers, we'd be the last to make a comeback. Behind sporting events, musical concert events, television, we were on the lower tier. So the world tour as we knew it, it was over. In Florida, many laws were passed, but law enforcement couldn't enforce them all. You can't exactly shut down the beach in Florida. There's too much flat accessible coastline, let alone private property that exists on the coastline. You can't shut down somebody's backyard. You can't say a river's shut down if it's still flowing and the boat ramps are still legally open. So it became clear that there was something I could do if I wanted to avoid cabin fever. I could hit the water. I really needed to get out of my house at this time, and this this was the birth of my foray into freediving, and I had no idea, just like dancing, that this would start leading to something beyond what I imagined.